in search of a better life, his father has moved the family to what is then the edge of the American frontier. Young James is small, weak, and never really healthy, but he thrives on the muddy streets of Columbia and the soft rolling hills of Tennessee. The Polk family also flourishes, and the young boy comes to see the frontier as a place of hope and prosperity.
The essence of the American spirit.
The nation's God-given destiny.
After he graduates from college, Polk moves into the family home in Columbia. Here, he acquires an insatiable taste for politics. At age 28, he is elected to the Tennessee State Legislature. 2 years later, he is elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. At each step, Polk painstakingly masters the ins and outs of political persuasion and legislation, and quickly rises to become Speaker of the House.
Like all politicians, Polk's ascent is aided by others. President Andrew Jackson takes Polk under his wing, becoming a lifelong political mentor.
But his most important political partner is Sarah Childress, daughter of a well-to-do Tennessee family, whom Polk marries in 1824. She's wealthy, educated, and independent-minded, and unlike her humorless husband, vivacious and outgoing. In an era when women have few rights, Sarah is indispensable to James's political success. She offers advice, coordinates his campaigns, and when they are apart, James's letters demonstrate his affection and reliance.
Wish I could have spent the day with you. The truth is, I miss you very much.
Like most Southerners of means, James and Sarah have enslaved people. And like some slaveholders, Polk recognizes slavery is morally wrong, but that doesn't prevent him from buying and selling men, women, and children, and owning a plantation in Mississippi with one of the highest death rates in the region. At the same time, James will spend his entire career trying to suppress any political debate of this brutal institution.
In 1839, Polk returns home to run for governor of Tennessee. Sarah serves as campaign manager, while James takes to the campaign trail. Politics in Tennessee is a blood sport. At each stop, both sides ply voters with loads of food and liquor. Things begin optimistically as Polk wins his first election as governor, but then loses the next two races to the same man. Everyone assumes Polk to be politically dead.
Everyone, that is, but James Polk.
Baltimore, 1844. As the raucous Democratic convention opens, Polk, still in Tennessee, plots his return.
Few notice or care.
On the first and second votes for the presidential nomination,
No one even thinks of Polk.
on the third and fourth votes,
No one advances. A deadlock emerges.
as the fifth and sixth drag on,
Polk and his allies sense opportunity.
on the seventh,
An angry brawl breaks out.
on the eighth,
Polk supporters make a move, offering him as a compromise candidate.
and by the ninth vote,
He outmaneuvers everyone.
and the politically dead Polk wins the Democratic nomination for president.
Everyone is stunned. Is James Polk a master strategist or a lucky opportunist?
The 1844 campaign for president is bruising and bitter. His opponent, Henry Clay of the Whig Party, mercilessly mocks the small man from Tennessee, sneering, "Who is James K. Polk?" But Polk doesn't give an inch. He hews closely to the party line. The Democrats are deeply distrustful of federal government and big business. They welcome immigrants with open arms and argue that the United States must expand its territories westward.
In the end, Henry Clay, like most everyone before him, underestimates the shrewdness of James Polk, who wins the most stunning political comeback in American history.
Once in the White House, James and Sarah divide up duties. Sarah manages the complex social affairs of Washington and reports back with political news. This allows her workaholic husband to disappear into his office and essentially micromanage the government. Indeed, Polk declares himself to be
the hardest working man in the United States, and I will be my own man.
And he will. The master politician goes to work. He reduces taxes on imported goods and creates an independent treasury.
Polk then sets his sight on his lifelong dream, expanding the nation to the Pacific Ocean. Both the U.S. and Great Britain lay claim to the Oregon territories, declaring that the only way to treat John Bull is to look him in the eye. Polk outbluffs, outnegotiates the British, and eventually wins a pathway to the sea for the United States.
His next goal will require more doing, taking control of the Southwest, owned by Mexico. Polk first annexes Texas. He then offers to purchase the rest of the Southwest, but Mexico turns him down cold. In response, Polk does something daring. He sends American troops to the Rio Grande, into territory claimed by both Mexico and the United States. But why? Is he protecting United States territorial claims, bluffing Mexico back to the bargaining table? Or is Polk trying to provoke war?
Whatever his intentions, on April 25th, 1846, Mexico ambushes 2 companies of American troops. Without missing a beat, Polk races to Congress declaring, Mexico has shed American blood on American soil. He then demands something no president before him has demanded, a declaration of war. At first, press reports of great military victories and a glorious war intoxicate the American public. But as fighting drags on, doubt creeps in.
Is this war really legitimate?
The nation wonders.
Should a democracy like ours invade other countries?
To the Mexicans, we are brutal aggressors. As opposition grows, Polk only digs in deeper. In the end, after 2 years of fighting, the United States occupies Mexico City. In exchange for peace, Polk forces Mexico to sell its territories. America now owns the entire Southwest.
In just 4 years, President Polk has accomplished every one of his goals. But it has taken a toll on him. He is exhausted, ill, and makes good on his promise to serve 1 term.
In 1849, James and Sarah moved to a home in Nashville called Polk Place, with plans to lead a quiet life together. But 3 months later, James is dead at age 53. James's cherished wife Sarah wears black in mourning for 42 years before she too passes away.
So how should we take measure of James and Sarah Polk?
Without doubt, Sarah is one of the most important first ladies in history.
Her husband, James, has clearly redefined the presidency, making the executive office more powerful than ever before. He has accumulated more territory than any president before or after. Legitimate or not, the Mexican War forever reshapes the nation's geography. It also redefines the American spirit. A gold rush triggers a mass exodus westward in search of hope and prosperity on a new American frontier.
But Polk's new territory also bears unintended consequences. The man who tried so hard to suppress debate over slavery instead rips open this ugly wound.
Should the new territories be slave states?
Or free states?
These questions will hasten the nation's descent into a bloody civil war, which ultimately frees the African Americans enslaved by James and Sarah.
However we choose to weigh his legacy, we can hardly imagine our nation today without the accomplishments of James Polk.
The man from the small frontier town of Columbia, Tennessee.